Imagine a version of England that exists somewhere between history and legend. It is a world of deep, shadowed forests, bustling medieval courts, and a social order that feels both incredibly rigid and strangely fluid. This is the setting of Forest Days, a romance of old times by George Payne Rainsford James. The story takes us back to the reign of King Henry III, a time when the political landscape was being torn apart by the struggle between the king and the ambitious Simon de Montfort. But while the high politics of the realm provide the backdrop, the heart of the story is much more personal, a tangled web of romance, betrayal, and the search for justice in a world where the law and morality don't always agree. To understand the chaos that unfolds, we have to look at the man driving it, Richard de Ashby. He is a man of boundless, predatory ambition. He isn't just looking for wealth, he wants to secure the Ashby earldom and the hand of the beautiful Lucy de Ashby. To get there, he uses every tool at his disposal: spying, manipulation, and outright violence. He's even involved in a scandalous affair with a village girl named Kate Greenlee, a relationship that is less about passion and more about his need to control and exploit those around him. Richard's plan is masterfully corrupt. He orchestrates the murder of the Earl of Ashby, but he doesn't just kill him, he frames someone else to cover his tracks. He points the finger at Hugh de Monthermer, a noble knight who finds himself caught in a legal and political trap he didn't see coming. As Richard works to climb the social ladder, he leaves a trail of broken lives in his wake. And it's here that the story moves from a standard courtly drama into something much more atmospheric and wild. As the plot thickens, we see the lines between the high-born nobility and the common folk begin to blur. This happens because of the intervention of Robin Hood. Now, this isn't just a fairy tale version of the outlaw, he functions here as a shadow arbiter of justice. He operates in the spaces where the king's law fails or becomes corrupted. Robin Hood uses intelligence and deception to protect the innocent, and he becomes a crucial ally to Hugh de Monthermer. It is Robin Hood who provides the information that begins to peel back the layers of Richard's treachery, exposing the truth that the formal courts are too blind or too compromised to see. While this political and criminal drama is unfolding, there is a romantic thread that keeps the stakes incredibly high. Hugh de Monthermer and Lucy de Ashby fall in love, but their romance is a dangerous thing. They are separated by social standing, by the threat of political ruin, and by the direct efforts of Richard, who wants Lucy for himself. The tension reaches a breaking point when Richard's attempt to frame Hugh for the Earl's murder leads to a judicial combat, a wager of battle. This brings us to a fascinating moment of tension involving Hugh de Ashby, Lucy's brother. Hugh is a man bound by the strict codes of chivalric honour. Even as he begins to realise that Richard is the true villain and that Hugh is innocent, he finds himself paralysed. His sense of honour prevents him from simply withdrawing the charge against Hugh, even though he knows the truth is being manipulated. It's a moment that shows how the very rules meant to ensure justice can sometimes be used to prevent it. The situation becomes desperate. Hugh is facing certain death in the duel. In a move that feels almost like a heist, Lucy and Prince Edward devise a daring plan to save him. They don't try to fight the system through a legal appeal, which they know will fail, but through deception. They arrange for Hugh to flee Nottingham in disguise. In a sequence that highlights the theme of appearance versus reality, Hugh and Lucy escape the castle by posing as a priest and a nun. It is a tense, high-stakes flight that relies entirely on the ability to hide one's true identity in plain sight. But the story doesn't end with a simple escape. The resolution of this entire web of lies comes through a combination of legal truth and something a bit more primal. A high-stakes trial is held, and the ultimate proof of the conspiracy comes from an unexpected source: the survival of the Earl of Ashby. It turns out Richard had attempted to murder the Earl, and the fact that the man is actually alive shatters the entire foundation of Richard's forgery and his accusations against Hugh. The truth comes out, and Richard de Ashby is exposed as the mastermind behind the whole scheme. The king, in a display of royal mercy, decides to banish Richard rather than execute him. But the story doesn't leave the resolution entirely to the king's court. As Richard is being led away, he is struck down by an arrow marked with the name Robin Hood. It's a powerful moment that suggests that while the law might offer mercy or technicalities, the forest offers a more direct, final kind of retribution. With the villains exposed and the truth revealed, honour is restored to Hugh and Lucy, allowing them to finally be together. though the world around them remains a place where justice is often a complicated, messy business. When we look back at Forest Days, it's interesting to see how it plays with the ideas of justice. There's a constant tension between what we might call legal justice, the formal, often corrupt, and slow-moving systems of the court, and wild justice, which is represented by Robin Hood and his band of outlaws. The story suggests that the formal systems are easily manipulated by men like Richard, who use forgeries and social status to hide their crimes. In contrast, the forest represents a more primal, perhaps more honest, form of morality where truth can be found through action and direct intervention. This theme of appearance versus reality is woven throughout the entire narrative. We see it in the way Richard uses his reputation to mask his predatory nature, in the way Kate Greenleigh is victimized by a man who presents himself as a gentleman, and most literally, in the disguises used by Hugh and Lucy to escape the law. The story is constantly asking us to look beneath the surface of what people claim to be or what the law says is true. There is also a wonderful use of symbolism in the book, particularly with the grey horse. This isn't just a piece of background detail, it serves as a symbol of unexpected strength and the ability of the underdog to outpace the elite. It mirrors the way characters like Hugh, and even the outlaws themselves, manage to navigate and eventually overcome the rigid structures of the nobility. The structure of the book itself relies on the interplay between two very different worlds, the merry England of the forest and the corrupt court of the cities. The forest is a place of movement, of shadows, and of a certain kind of freedom, even if that freedom comes with its own set of dangers. The court, by contrast, is a place of static hierarchies, where a single lie can lead to a death sentence. By moving the characters back and forth between these two environments, the author highlights the absurdity and the danger of the social order of the time. It's also worth noting how the historical context of the reign of Henry serves the story. The real-world political turmoil between the king and Simon de Montfort isn't just a historical fact used for flavour, it mirrors the personal struggles of the characters. The instability of the kingdom reflects the instability of the characters' lives. Just as the crown is fighting to maintain control, the characters are fighting to maintain their honour, their lives, and their loves against the chaos of betrayal. In many ways, Forest Days feels like it belongs to a tradition of storytelling that explores the sublime, that feeling of being caught between terror and beauty. There is the terror of the ambush and the executioner's block, but there is also the beauty of the forest and the romantic ideals of chivalry. It's a world where the stakes are life and death, and where the resolution of a conflict often requires a bit of both the law and the lawless to achieve a sense of true balance. In the end, the story leaves us with a sense that while truth can eventually triumph, it rarely does so through the easiest or most straightforward path. It takes a bit of deception, a bit of divine coincidence, and a bit of help from the shadows of the forest to set things right. It's a reminder that in a world of complex social masks and political maneuvering, sometimes the only way to find justice is to step outside the lines.